In the middle of the 2020 lockdown, Sean Diddy Combs went live and introduced a little white girl to the world.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baron.
Ava Baron Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child.
But after that live stream, Ava disappeared. No one saw her again. Years later, shocking courtroom testimony from actor Terrence Howard revealed a chilling truth.
So then my assistant was like, you know, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant...
And Diddy's own ex-bodyguard said it was all a setup. That girl was never adopted, and she didn't belong there. Now Diddy is under federal investigation. His sons are being named in disturbing reports. And rapper 50 Cent is producing a documentary asking the same question everyone's thinking. Where is Ava Baron Combs?
He did it.
Because if what they're saying is true, this wasn't adoption. It was trafficking.
Charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking.
The courtroom wasn't ready for what Terrence Howard just said. We're talking about Diddy's so-called adopted daughter, Ava Baron Combs, and a bombshell revelation that stunned everyone in the building. Not because of who Ava is, but because of what might have happened to her. Now, for those who don't know, back in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, Diddy surprised everyone by going live on Instagram to introduce Ava, a young white girl, as his adopted daughter. At the time, it looked like a feel-good moment. A man with power stepping up to help a child during uncertain times.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baron.
Ava Baron Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that, but you're my child also. But please tell the story.
So, I was on the street, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up.
Ava, that's like a little bit like borderline suspect. I don't want nobody to know. We want to get it clear. I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent.
I always come over.
Yeah.
And
And it's Ava Baron Combs.
But fans started noticing something strange. Ava wasn't around much after that. She barely appeared in family photos. Her body language in videos was off, tense, distant. She was mostly seen near Diddy's sons, rarely with his daughters. The whole thing felt staged. Then came the courtroom moment no one expected. Terrence Howard, already in the spotlight for accusing Diddy of predatory behavior, suddenly shifted focus, hinting that Ava's situation was part of a much darker story. And just as Terrence hinted at knowing more, new charges were quietly added to Diddy's federal indictment, including potential victims who hadn't been named before. That's when the internet lost it, because insiders are whispering that Ava might be one of them, a victim whose disappearance wasn't just about family dynamics, but about hiding what really went down behind the scenes. As if that wasn't enough, Terrence Howard also exposed his personal encounters with Diddy, saying the mogul once tried to lure him into a sexual situation under the excuse of needing acting lessons.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you notice to be hands off with somebody.
And he didn't stop there. Terrence explained that in this industry, once you compromise your manhood, you don't get it back. A chilling line fans believe may be tied to what Ava experienced too.
Always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
Suddenly, Ava's story is no longer just a side note. It's front and center, and the world is finally paying attention. After Terrence Howard's courtroom bombshell, the internet had one question. Where is Ava Baron Combs now? When Diddy first introduced her on IG Live in 2020, it looked like a headline moment, a celebrity stepping in to adopt during the pandemic. But not long after the cameras stopped rolling, Ava disappeared.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
She wasn't showing up in family TikToks, no birthday clips, no first day of school photos. And fans noticed she was mostly placed next to Diddy's sons, not his daughters, and never around in ways that felt natural. That's where the timeline gets shady, because the sons, Justin and Christian Combs, aren't exactly scandal-free. Justin Combs was directly named in a lawsuit involving alleged trafficking activities with Diddy's team. And Christian, he's now facing his own sexual assault lawsuit. So now fans are asking, if these were the men Ava was being left around, and if Terrence is right about what Diddy was capable of, did something happen to her? Terrence's cryptic statement about losing your manhood and never getting it back suddenly hits different, because people are now reading between the lines. What if the victim wasn't a grown man, but a vulnerable teenage girl? What if Ava wasn't just adopted for optics, but for access? Online, this has become the new theory. Ava wasn't part of a family. She was part of a setup. If everything felt suspicious before, Gene Deal just confirmed your worst fears. Diddy's former bodyguard isn't pulling any punches. He's the guy who saw everything, and now he's finally talking. According to Gene, Ava's adoption wasn't about compassion or care. It wasn't about family. It was a calculated PR stunt. He claims Diddy picked Ava up during the pandemic, a vulnerable, homeless white girl, paraded her on live streams, and then disappeared her when the headlines stopped buzzing.
Get where you want to be at. You got to have principles, you got to have morals, you got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window, you understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people.
Gene didn't stop there. He said the industry has known for a while that something dark went down, and hinted that there could be footage, evidence so disturbing that federal investigators are already combing through Diddy's seized devices looking for it. That's when things got terrifying. If what Gene said is true, that Diddy scooped Ava up just to use her for optics and then discarded her, we're looking at something way darker than a publicity stunt. And Gene's word hits hard because he was there. He's not an outsider. He was part of the inner circle. He says what happened to Ava isn't just suspicious, it's criminal. When Diddy first introduced Ava Baron Combs in 2020, he made a bizarre comparison. He didn't call her family, he didn't talk about love, he compared himself to Madonna. At first, people thought it was just a flex, a clumsy celebrity moment. But now, knowing everything we know, that comparison feels like a confession. Because Madonna's adoptions have been under fire for years. She's been accused of child trafficking, exploitation, and removing African children from their families under false pretenses, allegedly with the help of manipulated court systems. So, when Diddy said he was doing the same, that's not just weird, it's chilling. Especially when you realize there's no trace of Ava anywhere now. No school photos, no social media, no follow-up updates, just a live stream intro, and then silence. The timing of Ava's disappearance, combined with that Madonna reference, has fans convinced that she was never meant to be a permanent part of Diddy's life, just a temporary image boost. And now the speculation is out of control. People are asking if there's even any legal adoption paperwork. Some say she was used for optics to soften Diddy's image during COVID. Others think the whole thing was a smokescreen for something darker, a way to gain access, then vanish her without questions. The internet's not letting this go. They're digging deeper, connecting dots. And every detail that surfaces makes Diddy's story look less like charity, and more like a calculated move from someone who's been here before. If there's one story that shines a brutal light on Diddy's world, it's Cassie Ventura's. Her lawsuit didn't just accuse him of controlling her music career. It accused him of controlling her entire life. Her clothes, her phone, even her body. And the most disturbing part? Cassie says she was forced into what she called freak-offs, orchestrated encounters with strangers at Diddy's parties, where she felt dirty and grimy afterward.
She said that after that first freak-off, she said she felt dirty.
This wasn't Hollywood glamour. It was manipulation, coercion, and maybe a blueprint. Because the more people learn about Ava Baron Combs' strange introduction and sudden disappearance, the more they see echoes of Cassie's story. The staging, the control, the silence.
She also was testifying that, these physical threats. One thing that stood out to me that she said was if she made the wrong face, the next thing I knew I was getting hit in the face. And she said he controlled almost every aspect of her life. He gave her essentially busy work, a to-do list, so he would know what she was doing at all times. If he couldn't reach her, he was incessantly texting her until someone went and checked to see where she was.
Court documents from Cassie's case detail how Diddy allegedly recorded these freak-offs. Not for fun, but for leverage. These weren't private moments, they were productions. And now, federal investigators are digging into whether minors were involved in these same events. That's where Ava's name keeps coming up behind closed doors.
Case in point, Cassie Ventura and Sean Combs. She told the jury that she was 19 and he was 37 when they first met. He signed her to Bad Boy Records. She had star potential and he had star power. She was sexually inexperienced. He earned her trust, got her to become dependent upon him for her career, and she fell in love with him. Slowly but surely, she said the love would turn to violence. She said he would beat her and that he was in control of everything. She said he would force her to participate in freak-offs so her body would be hurting so badly that she would need days to recover from them. She said they became like her job. She was hurting, she was fearful, and she was in a domestic violence relationship.
Was Ava trafficked? Was she recorded? Was her entire adoption just another setup? Right now, nothing is confirmed. But the parallels between Cassie's lawsuit and Ava's timeline are chilling. And with feds reportedly searching for footage, it's only a matter of time before someone cracks. If everything so far felt shocking, what 50 Cent just teased might be the final blow. He's been beefing with Diddy for years. But now, fans are realizing it was never about music. It was always about what 50 knew.
You have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before.
In a chilling voiceover, 50 says, "They can't charge him for what we saw, but we can't unsee it." The documentary, titled Did He Do It?, is already sending shockwaves online. Not just because it targets Diddy, but because insiders say it may include real footage tied to abuse, trafficking, and even Ava Baron Combs. And it's not just about what's on tape, it's about who might show up in court. Sources close to the case claim Ava is now cooperating with federal investigators. If true, that changes everything. Because Ava's testimony wouldn't just support what Terrence Howard hinted at, or what Gene Deal exposed, it would bring first-hand confirmation. Is this the moment that finally breaks the silence around Diddy? Subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Because of this story, it's far from over.